Ladies and gentlemen, grab your gloves and get your compost ready. Stepping into the ring is the perennial powerhouse, the sultan of soil, the beast of the beds, where permaculture reigns, food grows wild, community roots run deep, and yes, the garden puns hit hard. Freedom starts in the soil. This is the Guerrilla Gardening Show.
Welcome back to the Guerrilla Gardening Show. I'm Mike with Mike's in the Garden, back with Sam from Central Florida Abundance. What's happening, Sam?
What's going on, Mike? Last week we were talking about shampoo ginger,
Mm-hmm.
and then today I had an amazing experience, and I have to include it because we should have mentioned it last week, but I had no idea. Uh, the shampoo ginger gets those red cones that you squeeze to get the liquid out. Uh, when the cones are mature, the cone is not the flower. The flowers are these little tiny buds that come off the sides of the cones, and those flowers are edible. And I found out today that they taste amazing. If
Wow.
you've ever smelled like the shampoo ginger scent, it smells like, it smells like shampoo, like
Mm-hmm.
fragranced. That's what the flowers taste like. But, not in like, it doesn't taste like soap, but it's very floral. It's not sweet, but it was just like really pleasant and crunchy.
Hmm.
Um, I heard it recommended on Instagram probably 2 days after we finished that episode. And then today I was out working on some shampoo ginger, and I found a flower, and I was like, this is my time. And so I knew I had to come tell all y'all because if you didn't know, and I don't hear too many people talking about that, I hadn't heard it before then.
Hmm.
The flowers are delicious.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
so you'll have to try that out.
I as soon as I have some flowers, I will definitely check it out and share my experience. It might be months from now, but
Check
um,
back in 2 years, y'all.
yeah, yeah. But in the meantime, go back to the last episode and check out some shampoo ginger and a little bit of regular ginger and wells as well. So
There might be a link right here somewhere. Who knows?
if we were fancy enough, we could put a link, but we want you to do the work for us right now. So, uh, Sam, I do want to share a video today because we ask viewers to send in videos if they need help with something or if they're struggling with something.
Yeah.
And please, if you have some of those videos, send them to us. You can reach out to myself or Sam. And so in the meantime, I want to share something that I'm struggling with.
Oh, okay. You got your struggles today.
I've got my struggles and we're going to work through them here. So, um, what I want to, sorry, I'll cut this out. I'm just looking like the video doesn't look like it's going to share with us next to it. But, anyways, because it's given a side by side. That's what we want. No background, over the shoulder, content only. I thought we fixed this once. Um, okay, so I was kind of leading up to this story about my Asian pear tree. It was in a pot that was around my crepe myrtles. And so as this thing started to grow, I thought it was a crepe myrtle just growing out of a pot and let it sit there for several months. And then it started to grow into like a little tree looking thing. It was kind of sick, sad looking. And before I dispensed with it, I said, let me just do the plant net, scan this, see what it is. And it said it was an Asian pear tree. So I up potted it, took some more care, and now it's in the ground. And it was doing well earlier in the season. It might be getting too much rain, but obviously we've got some grass going on here. I do weed whack around here quite frequently, pull some weeds in this little half circle here, but I'm sure you can see what's going on already. So
See a little bit of it.
I
Oh,
have
okay.
all the growth coming from the bottom of this tree, and the top is not looking so great. So,
Well,
um,
I see you're scratching the bark here to see if that top branch is still alive, and it looks like there's some green.
Yep. And even as
So,
we get to the top, it's
are
still
there
green.
leaves up there?
There
Yeah,
are
there are.
leaves. Yeah. They're kind of brown and wilty like those ones. And then now down here, I mean, look at
Whoa.
this.
What is that rootstock doing, man?
It is all over the place. So this is kind of what it looked like in the pot. It was just this big root ball thing, and I'm like, I had no idea what it was until I scanned it, and
That's
so
crazy. I was a little, honestly, you mentioned that it was an Asian pear and one of your plant apps said that, and I was, you know, they're a little iffy. And Asian pear, it throws that on like a lot of stuff. But this really does look like a pear. And you said you grew it from seed,
mhm.
but you didn't really notice it. Like you don't know how it got to like this state. It, how
So
many
yeah,
trunks are there?
there's quite a few. I don't even know how visible it is in this video. I tried to get close up here.
Man, that looks like a gnarly mess.
Yeah, so I mean, just from here we can see one, two, three coming out of the bottom. Now, for months, I thought this was a crepe myrtle, so I let it be.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking 8 to 10 months. It was probably in a pot less than a foot tall, half a pot filled with dirt. So it really wasn't doing much at all. Once the plant app told me it was an Asian pear tree,
then you started to care.
then I took some care into it. I did not crepe murder this tree. Um, but anyways, it was in a 1.5, 2 gallon pot for over a year. And finally, I said, I just need to get this in the ground because I think it needs to establish its roots in the ground. I put it in the ground. It was doing decent for a while. Over the last couple months, it started to do better than it had
Hmm.
before. But now, whether it's the competition that's around it, all this grass, which again, I do try to cut back once a week. Or, I mean, we've been getting downpour of rain every single day. It's clearly putting all of its energy into the base of this tree, which I have cut several times, pulled these off like that. So,
Okay.
what's your thoughts?
Okay, my first question in this image that we're looking at right here,
Mhm.
can we see where it goes into the ground? Like, where is the trunk?
So it's kind of like an avocado where a lot of the roots are above the ground. So it has two main trunks you can kind of see here. Let's back this up a bit. Um,
So if you pause it, like where that big split is down at the bottom, like there's a horizontal branch, and
mhm.
then you've got like a couple vertical branches coming off. Like, is that horizontal branch your trunk?
Right here where we're looking, where it kind of splits up this way and over this way here, these are the two main trunks.
Okay.
But yeah, it kind of did this weird, like a almost kind of formed a root ball. Um, like
Yeah,
an elastic ball of roots. I guess maybe that's a better
that is. It
analogy.
looks like a rubber band ball. Um, so I mean, in this situation, you know, the chances of, having a healthy tree from this are just like it's very low.
Mhm.
Uh, I would say, one of the problems is, it's got too too many directions it's going. And I mean, the roots shouldn't be this far out of the ground. Uh, I'm how damp does that area stay? I see you have the mulch like up around these roots. If the roots are out of the ground, you really, the best thing to do is just to keep that area clear of debris, because what you're going to get is like fungi that are eating the debris on the ground. And I mean, because this tree's not healthy, it's, you can kind of consider this tree disabled.
Okay.
It's not like the conditions necessarily lead it to be unhealthy. It just had a bad start in life and didn't develop, to optimal conditions. So you really have to baby it, like keep the mulch pull away, make sure you're giving it, enough water sufficiently and not just, relying on the mulch to hold the moisture there. You want it to dry out in between the waterings. It may be good to just let one of these new uh trunks take dominance and cut
Okay.
the older ones, because clearly it wants to put more energy down low.
Okay.
Uh, and I mean, I would say realistically, with a seed grown Asian pear, it's not like something. It's not a highly coveted tree. This tree, if it does make it, will take at least like 10 years before it's going to provide you any fruit. And then those fruit are not going to be, exactly like the ones you planted. So, I would think of this more of, an experimental plant, try to keep it alive if you want, and then use it as like, a foliar plant, because that's really what it's going to be for the longest time that you have it. If you love it
Okay.
as a bush and you can keep it alive for 10 years, then you'll get some pears off of it probably.
Um,
Uh,
the reason a lot of these roots are kind of above the ground the way they are, and there was, more of like you know, the stringy roots below the ground here, but in the pot, that's kind of how it was growing in the pot. These were like above the soil, and you could see the growth coming up. So I thought if I was to bury most of this, that, you know, it would cause these larger roots here to kind of rot and destroy the tree.
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I mean, this tree went through some trauma like real early on that
Yeah,
made it start growing these like
yeah.
tap
It
roots
was
above
forgotten. It
ground. Yeah.
was left
Well,
in the
even
delivery
that.
room and forgotten about.
Oh God, dumpster baby. But it's resilient, it's strong. Um, it's never going to be, the prize fruit in your yard, but growing fruit from seed is, I mean, an awesome adventure. Because, I mean, if you do get them to fruit, then it's like, wow, that's the best fruit I've ever eaten, no matter what it tastes like, because it took me
Hmm.
10 years to get it.
For sure.
Uh, but then also, it opens the possibility for, exciting mutations, because, most of the fruit we eat all the time is cloned, and, each fruit is going to be almost identical. Each navel orange is almost identical to every other navel orange, because those trees are just clones of each other. There's really only one individual navel orange tree in the entire world, and we've just cloned it a million times. But if we save the seeds from those fruit, especially the really good ones, it helps if you can get one that's like, less cultivated. So then you can get something more true. But anytime you grow fruit from seed, it's going to have random genes from whatever parents pollinated it. And, it's not going to be like the parents, but sometimes it can be better. That's how all the varieties that we have today came from, for the most part, for dealing with fruit trees, it came from people planting those seeds out, hundreds of them, and then finding the best fruit out of all those trees, and then they throw their name on it. uh and on a more small scale, something that could be really cool to do with seedling trees that are, maybe not going to bear root. If they are healthy, maybe in another year, this thing, really picks up and is doing real well, and you decide you want fruit, then you can graft scions from other pear trees onto this. And, that's true with pretty much all tree species. You got to stay in the family. But, if you have a seedling orange or even like those wild oranges that grow out just on their own, uh, you can graft other citrus onto that. I think, like I think pears you can do with pears, but then if you have peaches or plums, I know you've grown some peaches from seed. You can
Hmm.
graft plums and nectarines and apricots all onto that peach rootstock.
Hmm.
Um, so, growing trees from seed can be a really good way to, get healthy plants cheaper, uh, because then you only have to pay for, a small branch off a mature tree. And then, maybe you get five different types and put them all in the same tree. Make sure the tree's real healthy first. But, those are really exciting ways you can use seedlings. And a tree, this is this is not a good example, but this one did start out in a pot. But, in most cases, a tree has the ability to become healthier if started in the ground where it's going to grow permanently, from seed, because then the roots can, really develop and not turn out like this. Uh, but obviously, this one was done in a pot first.
Hmm.
But if you did just start, you know, planting seeds, think of yourself as Johnny, Mikey Pear Seed.
Johnny plant some seeds.
Yeah, Johnny Apple Tree. You can, I mean, like he was a real person, and he, cultivated thousands of different apple varieties and kind of made apples possible in the United States, because he took these European crab apples and these wild crab apples and just planted them out, thousands, hundreds of thousands across like the Northeast. And, you know, most of them were crab apples, but occasionally some of them would turn out really good. And I don't know which varieties came from the US, but there are a couple. Um, and so, there's lots
So
of fun things you can do.
I wouldn't do that to this tree, but would you ever take a tree out where it is and try to rehome it or establish it somewhere else? Obviously, this one's struggling, so the plant shock alone might
Yeah.
kill the tree, but sometimes maybe that's what it needs. But you,
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Sometimes you do have to move it. And, if too much water, not enough water in the area, sunlight can be a factor. And if the plant's struggling, and yeah, you're totally right. I wouldn't transplant this tree because it might kill it.
mm,
But, when you do transplant, the key is just to disturb the roots as little as possible. So, if you like excavated 3 feet around it and just picked up all that soil and then just put it somewhere else, then the tree would hardly even know that it got moved. But, picking up that much soil at once can be difficult.
sure.
But yeah, this tree, I mean, it's definitely not struggling. I mean, it could be struggling due to the location, but it's struggling for a lot of other factors first. Um, you know, you got the right idea, keeping the grass away, but the grass isn't real, like that amount of grass does not bother that tree.
Yeah. And
Um,
this is week old grass, really, maybe week and a half. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm constantly out there
Florida summers, man.
pulling stuff away from it. Yeah, and I mean, just when
How
it keeps
long ago
raining,
did you plant this?
this went in the ground probably February, March. So almost 6 months in the ground. 6 months, yeah.
Oh, okay. How, like, what growth was on there when you planted it?
Um, it hasn't grown much
So
in
it
the
was
last
it
6 months.
it had this height on it in
Pretty
the pot.
close. I mean, if we go back to the beginning here, and kind of hard to see on this one, but as we get up towards the top, there's growth right there.
Yeah, there
Um,
is a little
and
bit.
a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's not looking great, but
It looks like the
um,
tip has died off up here. Did
mhm.
you cut it at some point?
I did cut this one. So I was considering, and I haven't done this. I've read about this. I almost did this on the star fruit, but the star fruit's doing much better. But I've read that if your tree is sending out its, I don't know, sapsuckers, whatever you want to call them at the bottom, to pull those off, and you could even like wrap it in an aluminum foil to prevent sunlight getting further growth to what you just pulled off. And for a period of time, a couple weeks, that might be enough to send all the energy back to the top of this tree here. Because looking at these leaves, they're brown, they're curling, they're not doing very well, and even this
No.
growth isn't doing very well.
Yeah, there's not a lot of new growth. Like, you got that new shoot, but those leaves are pretty old and it doesn't look like it's putting out anymore.
Yeah,
I have never tried that, but if you were gonna, I mean, unless you got some crazy emotional attachment, this is the tree to experiment with that on.
yeah. I
Now,
mean,
one
no
thing,
emotional attachment, really. Minor.
yeah, I mean, I recommended earlier that you keep like you select a new shoot. And the reason that I said that is because, this tree's a seedling. And a lot of times you'll see those shoots come up and the suckers off the base. And if it's a grafted tree, you have to remove them because those shoots are coming from the rootstock,
Mhm.
which is going to be a different type of fruit than the one you're actually trying to grow. So you have to remove them. Because this is a seedling, the new shoots are going to be exactly the same as the top ones. Uh, so, you could let it take a new shoot and be fine. But what you're saying sounds fascinating. Uh, and, if that's a good solution for suckers on like grafted trees, then I'd love to know that. My thought is that you'd have to be careful that you don't trap moisture in there, like when you wrap the tinfoil around, because you wouldn't want to like cause rot. But I mean, I could definitely, blocking it of sunlight would keep those shoots from coming up.
I don't think I would do it on this one because of how the roots are. It doesn't seem like it would be feasible to really wrap it with foil. My starfruit tree has a straight trunk. So
Hmm.
I had noticed with the starfruit tree that I was getting a lot of suckers coming off the bottom. But once I pulled those suckers off and gave it a good pruning and straightened it out because it wanted to lean, I haven't really had that problem in the last several months. So I think that issue's gone with the star fruit. So now I'm back to the pear tree. But I'm going to prune this big tall branch here. Maybe one or two of the suckers on the bottom, maybe leave two of them that are kind of on opposite sides and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, I say that's a smart way to do it. Um, yeah, because those young shoots have a better chance. Like even if this starts growing, it's still gonna have this whole stem that's, not ideal, not strong. Uh, so, let one of them new stems take it up.
Would
And
you go all the way down to the trunk and cut this?
I would give it a little bit space off the trunk, maybe like an inch, like 2 or 3 nodes above the trunk.
Okay.
And that gives you some hardwood for, new growth to come off of if need be. But also, my worry is that if you cut it too close to the trunk, uh, it's not, it's going to rot. Like you open that up and the tree is not currently healthy enough to like, you know, accurate or appropriately fight off diseases as it heals. So if you give it a little space, then at least, maybe that trunk, if anything, would just rot off. And when you do cut it, make sure you're super sterile tools. You know, run the alcohol over them right before you touch this, because, like I said, you got to baby it.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that bark looks terrible. I wouldn't rely on that stem.
Yeah. Okay. And the other one that's down at the bottom, probably cut
It looks
cut
like
that
it's
one.
got some kind of fungal problem. Yeah, I mean the lower ones for sure. And then get that material like away from it. Don't drop that material at the base of that, you know, drop it on some plant that's totally unrelated. Because it I can't really tell. But the blackening of the leaves, the patterns that are on there almost looks like it's got a fungal problem in the roots. You know, one thing you could do, plant some, good herbs and flowers in this bed around it, aromatic things, marigolds, sun hemp, mustard greens, and those kinds of plants are going to promote healthier conditions. And if there are, you know, root eating fungi proliferating through this, they can mitigate a lot of that damage. A lot of our herbaceous, aromatic plants are really good for, rebalancing the soil food webs. And so, get some companions in here with it. Nothing too aggressive, but just some things that can get some life pumping in the soil and, spread the effects over to this guy.
All right, excellent. Well, we've only got like 3 minutes left, Sam. So how about we just we'll wrap up. We can feature some of our gardening friends on the next episode. Um,
Sounds good. Running long
Sam,
today.
yeah, provided some excellent insight on this episode. We'll have to do a follow-up maybe several months from now and see how we're doing. Hopefully my audio is not too bad. We just had brand new floors put in here and I'm sitting in this room myself and a
Echo.
desk. So Sam,
Uh,
since you provide valuable information like you did today, why don't you tell people where they can hire you and if they want some of your consulting services?
yeah, if you got a sad fruit tree or need some help with things in your yard, you can check out Central Florida Abundance on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube right here, and we'll get you set up. You can schedule a consultation, and hopefully we can help you out in a regenerative way that works for everybody.
Awesome. And I Go Farm as well. Make sure you check out I Go Farm. And I've had Sam come to my house. Well, it's been several times, but at least once a year, I have Sam come to my house and take a look at things, tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and how we can
Somehow I
keep
missed
this.
that pear tree.
Well, last time it was like raining and it was 1,000 degrees. The cameras kept dying, so I don't even think we made it over there. Um, but anyways, that's why we just keep having you come back. So,
Yeah.
um,
And
yeah,
if you want to get
definitely.
some shirts, you gotta get some shirts, guys. Get you a Guerrilla
Yeah.
Gardening shirt. Check
If,
out Mike's Etsy store.
if you want a Hi, I'm High shirt, and the cannabis collection on the store, you can head over to the Etsy shop now and make sure you're following myself and Sam at Mike's in the Garden everywhere. Social media is available. Central Florida Abundance as well. Please send us some content like we reviewed today, and hopefully we can provide some insight for you as well and get your garden journey going.
Y'all take it easy.
All right, Sam. Peace out. And yeah, go get your shirts. They're right here or there. We're going to put the links in.